So now that the dust has settled on Top Gun Maverick, you shot the film, you've had the world premiere, the Cannes premiere, and the eventual release a little while later. What's this whole experience been like for you, and what will you take away personally from the whole thing?
I mean, it almost, I have to say, it almost doesn't feel like the dust has settled yet, because like here we are and they're putting, it's still in theaters. And I think because of that, I'm still very much processing this. I think my takeaway now is very different than what it'll be in 5 years and 10. But I think we're still, I can speak for myself and say that I know that right now there is just so much relief that it's finally out. And we were we wrapped this a little over 3 years ago. It was supposed to come out in 2020, and we spent so much of the pandemic, like we actually got to see it in 2020. And then we waited and knew that this was going to be a movie that people would love. I don't think we expected it to be this phenomenal, but or to have this like reception. But it just feels like such a relief to finally have it out and have people enjoying it. I think it felt like that at the premiere, and it still feels like that now. Because again, we were in sort of like the making of it and the sitting on it being completed longer than it has now been out. So I almost still sort of feel that tension there, and it's just a relief that people are enjoying it, that people have seen it, that we can share it, that we can like really truly talk about it. And that's kind of where I am now. I don't know that I have like a complete takeaway yet.
Sure, I get it. I mean, I saw the film in Cannes. Luckily, I was at it was the European kind of premiere, and that was an experience in itself. And I look back so fondly. I love the film. I think it is absolutely one of the best of the year. To sit on that for that amount of time must have been excruciating.
Yeah, it was tough. And some of my bonding with the cast, I think, was in our wait. Every time it pushed, we all hopped on FaceTime and just like commiserated. And, we knew it had to happen. We couldn't have dragged people into theaters too soon. And yet we also couldn't release it on streaming. It just,
Right.
deserved so much more. And audiences deserve to see it in the big screen and at a time where it was safe to be in groups. So it was all necessary, but yeah, it was tough.
And you talk about the camaraderie, and you say you sort of worked on that out, but you must have sort of worked on that before because you're one part of a group of pilots that are very much at the core of the film and potentially the future if anything else happens. Was that something you worked on previous to shooting the film, or was that something that kind of evolved when you were shooting it? How did it all work? I know there's a lot of physical preparations, but what about mentally and kind of physically with the other actors as well?
Yeah, well, I think in the physical preparation was when a lot of that bonding happened, because we were training as soon as we got cast. Within that week, we took a trip to the actual Top Gun and met pilots, and they were like, okay, like, this is a competition movie. You guys are friends, you all have certain histories, and get to know each other and get to know pilots. And, it was like immediate immersion. And I think it really was reaching certain physical limits together is a big part of what bonded us. The fact that we were going through something that really no one in our industry ever goes through. And even sort of, the pilots themselves, this was just sort of like a unique experience because we were training as much as possible to be like them, but then also had the pressure of this massive sequel that it was so highly anticipated. All of that intensity, I think, really bonded all of us because it was just such a unique experience.
Sure. And final question, obviously, me as a fan, as a critic, I want more. I know you can't say if there's anything going to happen in the future, but is that something you would like to be a part of if it should happen?
Yeah, Yeah, of course. I mean, I really trust the team that made this one, and I think there was something beautiful about it being a 30-year delay. But and they also, you know, they really waited for certain technological advancements to be possible in order to make it. And they waited for the right story. And I really do believe Tom knows what he's doing when he puts all of those things into consideration. So I would never want to pull the trigger too soon. I don't think it's, you know, just for the sake of knowing that it could make a good amount of money. I don't think it's worth doing a sequel for that. Actually, something I really love about a lot of British series is that they do the amount of episodes required of, like, that they have good story for, if that makes sense, rather than have to fill out 8 or 10 or 22 episodes. They do 3 really solid episodes. So, you know, I really value waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right story. So, and I trust them to do that. That's all I have to say.
Excellent. Well, I love the film, and good luck with the rest of this last bit of promotion that, you know, you're involved with. It's so much fun.
Thank you.